Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Jones, and this is Beyond the Feature, the podcast where we turn technology budgets into business value by fixing those workflows of your teams and using Microsoft 365, but not collecting features. So far, we've said behavior lives where work happens, defaults are destiny, and rituals beat reminders. Now, today's idea is the one that prevents rework, relitigation, and rerunning the same conversation for the fourth time. Decisions need a trace. If you can't tell who decided what, when, and where, the workflow falls apart. We don't need a museum exhibit for every choice, but we do need a visible line we can point to later. That line is the difference between momentum and déjà vu. So why do those decisions vanish? And kind of why it hurts is because real life is noisy. We decide things in meetings, in chats, in the hallway, in a comment thread, and sometimes inside someone's head. The moment passes, and next week someone asks, wait, did we approve that? If the answer requires digging through chat history and email archaeology, your team pays a tax on progress. A healthy workflow doesn't make you detective every Thursday. It puts the decision where future you and new teammates will actually look. So let's just take a quick picture. Imagine two worlds. World A, you finish a call. Everyone kind of agrees. The document is somewhere. Comments are half resolved. The decision exists somewhere. Next week, someone asks for changes that contradict last week's agreement. Now, World B, you end the same call by writing one line at the top of the meeting notes on the document. Decision approved as final. Owner, Maya. Approver, Jamal. Date, November 4th. Comments resolved. Task created. Next week, the question comes up and you point, not argue. Same people, same work. The difference is the trace. So the concept is simple on purpose, right? A trace answers 4 questions in under 10 seconds. What was decided? Who decided it? When did it happen? Where is the record? If you can't answer those without a scavenger hunt, you don't have a trace, you have a memory, and memories leak. Where trace lives in our model is that you know that we go with the trigger, the shared space, the short ritual, decision, and then trace. So today is that last link in that model, right? So we're not adding bureaucracy, we're closing that loop so the work doesn't drift back to, I thought. No, trigger, work starts. Shared space, work lives in one place. Short ritual, there's small cues that keep it on track. Decision, someone chooses. And trace, we can see the choice later. Rituals create the rhythm. Trace creates memory. Isn't that what version history is for? No. Version history is great, and it's invisible to most humans until there's a crisis. A trace is a human-readable sentence in a human-obvious place. Think of that as your headline. Version history, comments, approval stamps, and labels are evidence behind the headline. This is where features quietly shine. Not because we love buttons and shiny new things, but because the buttons give your trace teeth. So some of those features are comments and @ mentions. They make the decision path visible. There's version history, which gives you the before and after story of the document. Approval stamps, or a simple approved by, makes it official. Sensitivity labels encode the decision's handling rules. And there's also share link settings that show who the decision was for. So none of this is flashy in itself, but all of it is mission critical when someone asks, what changed? If you need quick how-tos, well, that's where the Microsoft Companion series on Amazon and the Olympus Academy lessons, or even my short YouTube videos come in. Those tiny skills you can drop in at any moment and formalize the trace. I love finding and trying new features, same as everybody else, just to see how they fit in my workflow. And if it's worth it and I can find the time, shoot, I'll spin up a YouTube video to share it and I'll post it in one of the socials, kind of like Substack. But the idea is the features are beautiful, but the moneymaker for the return on investment is aligning the workflow to the work that is needing to be done, not following or jumping at the shiny new toy. And that's why decisions need a trace. With so many tools and resources, we need to have that ritual that lets us know where that decision can be found and the information in it. We're going to hear objections. We'll slow down if we write decisions. Well, you'll slow down more when you have to revisit the same choice next week. One sentence now saves 10 messages later. Sometimes people say, we already have a ticketing system. Great. Link the decision from the document to the ticket, or vice versa. The trace should live where people look first, not only where the systems live. Another one is everyone knows what we decided. Great. Everyone knows today. New people join. Vacations happen. Memory fades. Trace is for people who weren't in the room or weren't even hired yet. So now there's some signals that you have a real trace. You can see it. Debates get shorter because we already decided line is easy to find. Approvals aren't hiding in chats. You can answer what changed in one screenshot. And new hires on-ramp faster because decisions come with a paper trail. When those start happening, you're not just organized, you're faster. That's the workflow. Now here's a tiny story, right? It's the meeting that finally ended. We know those meetings. So a product team kept revisiting the same pricing tweak. Every week they aligned and then reopened the topic. We didn't add a policy. We added a 2-line decision header to the top of their notes template and ended the meetings with what goes in that line. 2 weeks later, arguments got shorter, not because people got nicer, but because the trace removed amnesia. And yes, for the mechanics, we used companion series, right? We used a YouTube clip that showed how to pin that template, right? That's the feature. But it wasn't the feature that made the difference. The magic wasn't in the pin, it was in the line. So here's some ways that we can practically create that trace, right? That's what we're here for, practical advice. So think headline and evidence. Headline, and it's human readable, is a single line at the top of the document or at the end of the agenda. Decision, proceeded with option B, owner Alex, approver Priya, date 25/11/04. Right, there you go. Evidence, quiet features, right? Resolve comments that fed the decision. Capture any must-do follow-ups as tasks. If it's sensitive, apply the right label. And if it needs to be shared, set the correct link scope. You didn't geek out on any of those features. You anchored the decision. Now, there's language that we can use that makes this stick. Short phrases that people actually use. If we can't point to it, it didn't happen. I use that one a lot. Write the decision, then end the meeting. We want to end those meetings, right? Headline in the document, evidence in the history. One place, one version, and one visible decision. Again, workflow and efficiency. Put one of these at the top of your template or in your team description. Language pulls the behavior forward. Now, if you're technical, here's the bridge, right? You can make the trace nearly automatic with light scaffolding. In a document template, that opens with a decision block already there. It's already at the top of the template. Maybe it's a meeting template where the last line is decision plus owner plus date. Or a pinned tab called decisions if your team prefers a running list. And then you can also have a flow or a Power Automate that nudge the copies with finalized decision to a shared log. If someone needs the clicks, honestly, you can go to the companion series, read the books, they're on Amazon, or go to Olympus Academy and take the courses, or watch some of my YouTube videos, right? It takes 2 minutes to learn features. But Those save countless hours later when you embed them into your workflow. Now here's something to try next week. Before your next recurring meeting, ask, where will future us look for the decisions next month? Then add one sentence in that place. If it's the top of the document, bottom of the notes, wherever your team uses, and read it out loud. If there's pushback, good. It means people care. Clarify it now so you don't re-debate it later. Do it once. Feel the difference next week when someone asks, did we? And you point instead of argue. Now, decisions need a trace because momentum hates ambiguity. A single visible line supported by quiet features turns "I think we agreed" into "we decided here." It saves time, reduces friction, and gives new teammates a way to understand the past without a tour. Now, next time, we're going to zoom out and kind of connect the dots. How to trace pairs with risk and quality, and which small measurements prove your workflow is getting faster without getting sloppy. So until then, remember our mantra. Features are ingredients, workflows are the recipe, and the trace is the recipe card you can find later. If you want the quick how-to on any of the things we mentioned, whether it's labeling or templates, the Microsoft Companion Series has those, Olympus Academy courses, and YouTube clips. And if I can find them, I'll link them in the show notes so you have them right there, or I'll put them on my Substack. So that way you can just watch them embedded in there. And that's where you can grab them when you need them. Until then, we'll talk next week.